Untitled People Show.
Good evening, everybody. Can you believe that we started early this morning and now it is even evening and we have many, many more shows to go. But I have an amazing actor, like super busy actor. You won't believe how many projects he has going right now that will be released in 2022 and then beyond. I mean, it's just outstanding. I was telling him in the green room, I didn't even bring in all your images of your movie posters. We're just going to go live to IMDb and do it that way because there's so many. And so first up, I would like to give a shout out to our very faithful sponsor, which is Pure Lift. Pure Lift has been with us since season 1, and Eric Elfstrom is the president and CEO of Pure Lift. He gave us an awesome interview. He was so cool. He allowed me to be just quirky me. I grabbed some vodka and all these different drinks, and I poured Pure Lift in it because I wanted to see if you could actually put it in anything, because that is one of their slogans that they have here. 0 calories, all natural, nothing artificial whatsoever. It's easy to use, energize anything. So I put it to the test, and I had like a little tasting tray with all these shot glasses, and it was really, really enjoyable. And he was just a trooper to do that with me. So energy, great taste, and convenience in one product. This is the orange flavor. You can see it looks like a straw, and it truly is. It has a little sticker on the side. You can peel the sticker off, and then it's just a slow release stir, or I pop off the bottom and pour all the granules inside. Now granules, it's not gritty. It dissolves 100%, and it's clean caffeine. So they source it from the green coffee beans. You can create a tall cup of coffee worth of caffeine in a sophisticated energy, energize anything small, pop it into your gym bag, put it in your purse. It is great to keep you going. Unroasted green coffee beans adds a hint, less than 1 milligram of stevia, vitamins A, B complex, unique portable energy stir stick can be stirred into your drink of choice, including but not limited to water, juice, soda, adult beverages, coffee. Like if you're a Cuban coffee girl and you just have a regular cup of joe and you want to spice it up, hey, just pop it in there. It comes in, this is the orange flavor as I was showing you. This is unflavored, and it truly is. It's not bitter. It's not nasty tasting. You really would not detect that it's in there. This one is their berry flavor. And if you would like to purchase it, you can go to purelift.com. That's PURELYFT.com. You can also buy it on Amazon, Best Buy, or at the Home Depot. Why not? Couple of 2x4s, you need a lift, get some Pure Lift. All right, everybody. So next up on the show, I have Mr. Bill Housekeeper, and Bill is quite interesting. He comes from a background where, from what I can tell and what I've researched, his family was not in the entertainment industry, but he got himself interested, active, and acting very young. So his father, Jack, worked as a coal miner. His mother, Janine, ran a charity organization, United Way, for Southeastern Utah. He, as a young person, I believe, participated in drama class and plays, as well as music classes where he played the clarinet, bass clarinet, and drums. That's a very interesting combination. So his whole world changed with a family friend, Lynn Guthrie. Lynn Guthrie is Emmy nominated, and she showed his demo reel, and boom, like he just took off, or at least that's what I'm reading. So let's get the true story, the real story with Mr. Bill Housekeeper. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you have a moment in time for us. So tell me a little bit about what I read. Is it accurate? Your family, they were not in the entertainment industry. Is that right?
Yeah, no, that's true. I grew up in a small coal mining community up in Utah, and pretty much it seemed like everybody worked at the mines or in the mine affiliates. And I just kind of always wanted to be more on stage and more performing. It was kind of just what drew me to this lifestyle. And I mean, you're pretty much spot on with everything that you had said. I mean, I started off when I was really young. I remember like when I was about 7,
Whoa.
I was like, this is what I want to do. And so like the junior high, I did the high school drama class, went into, I got a scholarship at the College of Eastern Utah, which is now a branch of the University of Utah. And I got my associates there, and then I went over to what is it now? It's Mesa State University. They just changed their name a few years ago. And I got my bachelor's in acting over there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So take me through, there are not too many actors that I've interviewed, and maybe I just haven't asked the right questions, that have their bachelor's in acting. So I can only assume in my mind of creativity, because I wanted to get started young as well. But my parents were also not in the entertainment industry. And they said, you know what, our market is New York City, and I'm not going to get you involved in that in the early 80s. We think that's not the right place. So we didn't. But I can imagine so many wonderful things to major in acting. What types of classes did you go through? What types of acting styles did you learn?
Oh, wow. So much. I mean, there's so much that I took out of the trainings from both of those colleges. One was like our professor, Lee Johnson, at the College of Eastern Utah. He was just so knowledgeable about so many aspects of theater, and really respected. Very stern, though. Really, really super, super stern. And anybody who's watching this that knows me, that knows Lee Johnson, is like, yep, yeah, that guy was really super stern. I ended up with another teacher by the name of Grady McAvoy. I also had Don Adams, who was an amazing acting teacher. But Grady McAvoy, he ended up really kind of, he was a technical theater teacher.
Okay.
And he was the one, oddly enough, because I was required to take technical theater, which I never wanted to do. I never wanted to pick up a hammer or a screw gun. I was there to act, and that was it, and I didn't want to be any part of it. And Grady we ended up doing a show, and I don't know what it was, but I just ended up he really taught me how to break down a script, because he was looking at it from a different point of view than I was. I was looking at it as an actor. He's looking at it from a set and painting and rigging aspect. And oddly enough, that a lot of people, at least for me, it really translated. So I ended up really enjoying the breaking down process of a script and a character. And when I went to Mesa, I had Professor Ivanov, who was a Broadway actor, and he was just amazing. As far as acting, he was phenomenal. And yet, oddly enough, I basically fell in love with the technical side as well. And there we had a guy by the name of David M. Cox. He is a member of the United Scenic Artists, it's USA, and that's the Union for Designing on Broadway. He was a genius. I mean, to epic levels. And he really just sat me down and said, here's how to even further your knowledge. And between these two guys, I really ended up figuring out how to, sorry about that, I got a phone call. Sorry about that. So,
that's all right.
You really ended up just introducing me how to go down the rabbit hole even further with script analysis and character analysis. When I got to Los Angeles, I ended up being taught by Jeff Goldblum. And one of the lessons that we took at Mesa State University was the Meisner Technique. And there's a lot of techniques out there, and there's a lot of good techniques. And Meisner was a technique that I really enjoyed. So to go to a Meisner school and then end up with Jeff Goldblum right out of the gate as a teacher was just terrifying. Because I love Jeff. I mean, he's always like, you're talking when you were a kid, you know, it's like, who's your favorite actor? Oh, you know, it's Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt. I was like, Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum's amazing. And then I get him as a teacher, and I'm like, oh, I'm in way over my head. Like, I don't know what to do. And Jeff is an amazing teacher. Very patient, very real.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's somebody who's taught me how to really dive deep into character and script analysis, which is the things I do love doing.
So take me through your experience of creating your demo reel. Learning acting within a collegiate environment. Was part of that study creating your demo reel, or was that something that your very first one, you really had to do by booking those gigs and then begging for a little bit of the footage back?
You know, it's two different worlds. With the college education and the training and stuff, that's great. And I would never trade it for anything. But getting out into Los Angeles and actually getting into the film industry is a completely different world.
Mm-hmm.
For all the reasons that you hear of and all the reasons that you don't hear of. You're always being told, get the agent, then you'll get the films. Get the headshots, and don't worry about anything else.
Mm-hmm.
My approach to it has been completely different. I saw a PR, public relations person, as one of the most important things you can have on your team.
Yeah.
I've had many actors who I'm working with, and they're like, oh, don't worry about that. You can't do anything with it until you actually have a viable role. And I've always looked at it like, well, you're not going to get a role until people hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always put that first. And that was how I was able to start to get cast in projects. And from those, it's hard to pick and dissect what projects you have and what you want to put into a 60-second or a 90-second demo reel, because you can have so much great material and you only have X amount of time. So the demo reels are always fun to put together, but sometimes you end up fighting yourself going, well, this is really niche. I should definitely put this in. And you're like, but, I kind of already have that same situation happening in this scene that we've already used. So with the demo reels, my opinion is that you want to try to pick something, put together a variety of character, show you, and then the best scenes of those projects.
Sure, absolutely. It's always, the demo reel is one of those things where, for me in the beginning, that was probably my biggest struggle, along with trying to pick my own pictures for headshots. And eventually I'm just like, okay, team, you do it, because the ones I'm picking, I'm seeing with my own eyes, and it's not what everybody wants, and it's not what's going to get me the audition. And that was one of the hardest things for me to learn. Of course, I'm a newbie compared to you. I got started in my mid-30s, and I'm not that old. So and that is quite an interesting road to go down, to listen to everybody's input, especially your agent, who needs specific things for specific auditions. And for you, you're not a typecast guy. Like, going through your credits, it's cameraman, veteran, cowboy, cop, zombie, coach, and then just a whole slew of other roles in there that you play just about everything. So I can imagine going through that footage. That's really, really challenging to figure out what to put in there and what not. Do you have a genre preference?
Drama. Like, if I could do like a crime show, I would be super happy. But I also play like characters who are just, how do I say it? I mean, they're so completely opposite of me. And those are the fun ones. The ones you look at and you're just like, I have no idea what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I've kind of already said, is I love diving deep into the character and script analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're playing a character that you have no clue what they're doing or why they're doing it or what is the mentality that you have to do this,
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun. I mean, I have a project called The Sunshine Girl, and with that is one of the most interesting characters I think I've ever read. And I actually auditioned for a different part,
Mm-hmm.
and production came back and said, well, you didn't get that, but we're offering you this part of Lonnie. And I thought, well, okay, cool. I don't even know who that is. I didn't see it in the script. You know, I didn't audition for that. And when you audition, as you know, you only get like a few pages and not an entire script.
Right.
So when I actually read the character, yeah, I was just blown away. And luckily, I've been fortunate to have a lot of scripts come my way and a lot of characters who do stand out and who are fun and who do have a lot of detail and depth. But Lonnie, for some reason, is what I'm really looking forward to.
So I've pulled up the movie poster for The Sunshine Girl. What can you tell us that you're able to tell us about that project? And when do you think we might be able to see it?
So we haven't started filming that one yet. We were going to start filming, I want to say we were planning in October. But our lead actress director, she is actually in Europe.
Oh.
So because of COVID flight cancellations, we postponed it. And I think we're talking about filming it in May. But right now with everything so up in the air, even just this week, it's hard to say what's going to happen with travel. Project is an amazing project about a girl who's a fighter and is fighting cancer and fighting a lot of problems that she had no control over in her life, whether it be physical or just the people that she encountered, and she was always so positive about it. And I'm just, yeah, I'm really excited for that one. A project that's being ready to come out probably pretty quick is A Soldier's Secret, where I played a soldier who has PTSD, also based on a real story, on a real person. And very fascinating to go through his life and, you know, just kind of, I mean, I had so much fun with that character. I got the script and I read it. I always read a script. I try to read about 100 times if I can.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time I get it, I read it 3 times before I do anything. I always read it 3 times from beginning to end. And I would just find myself just driving around Los Angeles for like 8 hours, just thinking about this character. Not even like memorizing the words, not even, you know, just thinking like, why, how, what happened that I'm unaware of that would make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating because the director also wrote the project and is also the soldier's mother in real. So it was creepy when I would go in and do a scene and she would pull me off to the side and say, how did you know that he would do that? How did you know he would say it like that? How did you know that his hand would shake during this conversation? And I was, I don't know why. And she goes, that's what happened.
Wow.
That eerie when you have that happen.
That is super eerie. Oh my goodness. And it's his mother. Ah. Wow. So that, I mean, that's really going through your head of not only being present in that moment of who you've created, but I can't screw this up. I can't get this wrong. That's his mom.
Yeah, and luckily she was very she's like, oh, just, make it yours, do whatever you need to do, she's like, and I'm like, oh, great. And then I go out and I just mimic him without even had actually met him.
I love it.
And she liked me so much, she brought me back for a TV show called The Lost Highway that she's filming, and Lost and Lonely Highway. And then we're probably going to start working on another project around June as well. So
that is so cool. So per IMDb, as far as the credits that are currently listed, all in different states of development, there are 12 of them. That is astonishing. I mean, where do I even bring this question to God there? I basically want to say, like, where were you able to cultivate 12 projects, and you have so many more coming as well?
Yeah. I mean, I really just network nonstop.
Yep.
I mean, am constantly just like talking to people, sending out emails, sending out Facebook. I mean, whatever it is I can do to get known, I will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you had a project that you were telling me about in the green room, Jack Be Nimble. Tell us a little bit about that one. You said that one is next to be released.
That's probably going to get released, I would say, any day now, or it's coming up super, super quick. We got Vernon Wells and Failing and, Steve Willett, who was just the director writer on the project. That project was fun. I mean, that one, wow. Okay, so I end up playing a demon in that. And I come in before the night of filming, and I've landed in Maryland, and going through the character, and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with this? How am I going to do this? What's the game plan? And at like 2 o'clock in the morning, just came up with the voice for the demon. And went in there and started filming it. And just, it was great. The sound guy's like, dude, this is so creepy. Like, this is just so weird. But the family on the project, or the people on the project, really became a family. And we're always talking on Facebook and reminiscing about how much we wish that show hadn't finished filming, because we were having so much fun on that project. And I just remember just having just this load of energy on this when I was flying back to LA. And for like the next week, I was just like, wow, this is so much fun. I hope they all like that in the future.
That is so cool. So I want to read the little, I guess you can call it synopsis, and a little bit of information that's on IMDb for Jack Be Nimble. A group of tabletop gamers living in a retirement home come face to face with their frailty as one of them becomes convinced that a demon is killing the residents. Can you give us a little sample of the voice?
I don't. It was something like that. It takes a little bit of time to actually get it up and running, but it was very gurgly like that.
Oh my gosh. This is a really tough question that I have up next, but out of all the projects that you have listed here on IMDb, which one would you say you really can't wait to see how it comes out? And take that as maybe you're excited to see it come out, or possibly just really curious based upon everything, all the circumstance that went on within creating it.
This is probably going to be the biggest surprise to everybody. I don't know how to say this. I hate watching myself act. I have the hardest time just like watching myself. So I don't know how to really answer the question. Like, we were doing a Soldier Secret, filming, and then okay, let's take a look at it and see how it looked, and everybody, all the cast go back to Video Village and start watching it. And I'm like, oh, I'll be over here. And like, don't you want to come over here and like watch it? No. If it needs work, let me know, and I'll fix it. but and they're like, you really like after like a few days, they're like, you're serious? Like, you don't like watching yourself? I'm like, no, it's creepy. Like, I don't know. I can't explain it.
That is so funny. I'm the same way. However, I am obsessed with, I will watch the playback, but I watch it in third person. And production will kind of be like, did you just say she? Like, that's you, right? And I'm like, yeah, but she needs to do it a little bit differently. That's the only way I can watch the playback. But I'm so obsessed about, okay, we have to look at the minute details. Like, how does this need to be different in the next take, or exactly the same for the next take, to make sure they have exactly what they want if they love it like this. I totally get it. I think there's probably a lot of actors out there that don't like to see their playback.
Yeah, and I'm hearing more about that now too. Every now and then I'll catch an interview with somebody on one of the big late shows, and they're like, oh yeah, I can't watch myself. I can't watch myself. And I'm just like, I get it. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yep, totally get it. All right, I'm going to ask a totally off-topic question. Your last name, real or stage name?
Real.
Really?
And, yeah. I'm actually from a really, really super big family. 56 first cousins. Yeah.
56?
First cousins. That's not second. That's not third. That's just the first.
There's got to be some special circumstances in there. I Mormon something?
Definitely Mormon. All of my dad's side of the family was Mormon.
Oh, wow.
They are always like known for having really big families. My dad had 10 brothers and 1 sister, and all of them had between 7 to 10 kids, except for my mom and dad.
Okay.
So I was always just like, yeah, how surprisingly, yeah.
Only child. Oh my gosh. So you must have been blown away by the idea, the just conception of, wait a minute, there's siblings, like there's a house full of little people, there's other people to play with?
Oh, I mean, we all lived next to each other.
Okay.
Within probably, 7 miles or so. But we only had one elementary school to cover our part of the town. We had one junior high, one middle school, and one high school. And that was for the entire city. Actually, I think we ended up like 2 or 3 elementary schools. Of all the housekeepers, we all went to the same one. So, like, I grew up with everybody from kindergarten to high school. Like, they're all the same people.
Oh my gosh. So I've got to ask, with so many first cousins, considering a Mormon background, and I did not grow up Mormon, so I'm just going to ask this as a pure question. How many people have very, very similar or almost the same name? Like, were there a lot of the same last name?
Yes and no. It pretty much ran the gambit of last name. Just our family was just so big.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. Our family was so small, so small. It was just the 4 or 5 of us and one grandmother. So small. I find it so fascinating to hear people such as yourself with a huge family like that. That had to be a lot of fun around the holidays.
Oh yeah, it was great. And even just like a Friday or Saturday night, my cousin, Jake and his brothers, and sisters, like we'd be like 9 or 10 years old, and there was no crime where I grew up at. And so we'd be running around town on a Friday in the summer, and then like his house had like those awesome like patio that wrapped around the second floor of his house. So we go out there with like sleeping bags, like watch shooting stars and tell ghost stories. That was a normal night during the summer. That could be a Tuesday, that could be a Wednesday, because there's no school.
Right. Oh my gosh. There's something about just that innocence, that pure innocence that, technology is great in so many capacities in so many different ways, but once we put it into little ones' hands, it takes away so much innocence. No matter how many mommy, daddy controls, parent controls you put on things, it just is taken away from the innocence that I enjoyed having when I was young. I can hear that you enjoyed having that as well, and especially living in a place where you don't have to lock any doors and your kids can go for bike rides like out of, being able to see them or hear them, and they're okay. They're going to come back just fine. It's a beautiful, beautiful time. I hope in some way or capacity, things are cyclical. I hope that maybe there are parts that can come back to that. That would be wonderful for our youth. I have a game here on my desk. I'm wondering if you would like to play with me. It is a tabletop game. It's really designed for, sitting around the dining room table, and it strikes up a conversation. This is called So, a collection of questions for deeper discussions. Would you mind? Maybe I'll ask one and then you ask me one if you're able to read it, if I hold it up, and I will blindly pick these things. I promise I don't know them all at all. So I'm just as green as you are at this. And I'll ask you a question first. Is that all right?
Sounds great.
Okay. How would you change the way, society punishes criminals? Well, I didn't mean to get political right off the bat.
How would I change the way? Depending on the criminal, I think that we should try to listen to them more and try to figure out what it is that they're doing. Why is it they're acting in the way that they are, instead of being just flat out so incredibly judgmental towards them.
I think that's very well thought out. Absolutely. All right, here is a question. Let me see if I can get it up there for you.
I got it.
Okay.
If you have to sleep every night, what would you do with all that extra time?
Clean. It's a horrible answer, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind is cleaning, because I wind up spending a good part of my morning cleaning. So maybe if I didn't have to sleep, I'd get that done so that I could do other things during the day. I could work more. Oh my God, I'm so boring. Clean and work. That's it. I'm a fun time out on the town. I just want to clean and work. All right. All right. So this one says, if a museum had an exhibit about you, what items would they put on display?
My car.
Okay.
A pool table. And probably a deck of cards.
Ooh, your car. What kind of car do you have?
I have a Corolla. I mean, I've had many cars. For some unknown reason, I've had like 3 Toyota Corollas. But I've had so many. It's not so much the car as I love to drive. Like, I'm just obsessed with driving. So it's more just the action.
What would be the longest distance, not necessarily in one day, but the longest distance that you've driven from point A to point B?
I've done from Virginia to Los Angeles.
Oh, there you go. That's a long one. I've driven from Los Angeles to Georgia. Yeah. It's you know what? My first husband had said, when we were young, we were really young when we got married, we were in our 20s, and he said, you know what, I just want to get an RV or a bus or something, and I want to go across country. And I said, you're nuts. You're totally nuts. And then the day came where I was moving from Los Angeles. I had booked out back home here in Atlanta, and I'm like, I got to drive. I had my car shipped out to me. Now I got to drive. It was the most beautiful experience. I just can't even put it into words, of so many places to see and so many diverse terrains we have within this country. It's amazing. All right, so let's see. This is my card.
When was the last time you laughed uncontrollably?
Now, see, I side hustle as a comedian. That's a hard one. When was the last time I laughed uncontrollably? You know, I actually did recently, and what in the world was I laughing at? It was probably something as random as the news, because stupidity cracks me up. So, you know, I'll look and listen, and me and the dog, we have a great time when the kids go to school, because, you know, I listen to all of it. You know, I'm not left wing, right wing. I'm not just down the middle. I'm listen to all of it. So, yeah, probably some of the conversations I have with the dog. They're pretty hilarious some mornings, depending on how much caffeine I've had. You want to go one more round?
Sure.
All right, let's see here. Hopefully this isn't too crazy. That was about biographies. That's kind of similar to the museum. When did you first learn about? I don't want to ask you that. That's too political. I'm sorry. I'm cheating.
That's fine.
All right. Do you believe chemistry is inherent, or is it something you can develop over time?
That is such a hard question. And it might come down to, because there seems to be support for both sides of the fence. And people look at it like, yeah, this is evidence over here, and it's a really good, solid case. And then somebody else can come over and say, well, there's evidence here, and it's also a really good, solid case. So I think that it has to come down to the individual's perception of it. I would probably say,
I could see this being taken two different ways. There's a scientific way of taking it for chemistry. But what about romantic chemistry and the world of arranged marriages and things like that?
Yeah, and that's why it's such a hard thing. Also because I think a lot of people, it's all perceptual. So you would have to look at it from your point of view and then compare it to somebody else's point of view. It's a very hard question. And I don't really know if there is a solid right or wrong answer to it.
Okay. All right. Here is a card for me. Hopefully it's right side up.
Yep. Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. How would you spend your time if you turned invisible for a week?
Oh, I drive a car all day long. Oh my gosh, yeah. I drive a car. I drive a school bus. I drive. That's all I do. Just drive around invisible. I mean, like, so many people would be like, oh, I'd be naked. Like, I'd never have to wear clothes. No, that's boring. I drive.
You would cause so many car wrecks on the 405.
But think of all the vehicles that you, like, a train, a plane, like, oh my gosh, everything. I mean, now granted, I don't know how to be a train engineer. I don't know how to fly a plane. So it probably pretty tragic choices, but I can drive a bus, a car, a truck. That would be great. What would you do if you were invisible for a week?
I have no idea.
Nothing.
Nothing. Go see a bunch of concerts for free or something. I don't really know what I could do. Go see some. Yeah.
That's a great idea. Especially with your musical background. You have got to love music.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like in my car by myself driving, it's all the music. If you don't have the music, you can't do a solo drive.
No. No, I agree with you. Well, thank you, Bill. I really appreciate your time. And man, congratulations on your success. I can't wait to see what is to come, because with success builds success, right? So you have so many more projects to come. And your look is fantastic, because if anybody's watching this and they're looking for, oh, gee, I need that teacher. Boom. Oh, I need that cowboy. Boom. I mean, like, you're anything. You're everything.
I try.
Before I let you go, there's one question I never got to. Who do you really want to work with that you haven't had the chance to work with yet? Who would be your top 3?
Oh, this is going to be so bad because I can't remember his last name, so I bet I keep pulling him up on IMDb as well. Because he just kind of came out of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
And his career is just outrageous right now. Pedro Pascal.
Oh, yeah, he's a good one.
Thrones. I mean, that guy, he is doing such amazing work. And I was a fan of his when he was doing Narco. Mm-hmm. And I started watching that show the first season before he had flown up to, Game of Thrones and all of that. And it's just, what an amazing actor. So if I had to pick one right now, it'd probably be him.
Wow. Yeah, he's a really good one. What would be 2 others?
2 others. David Strathairn.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Will Smith. I'm reading his book right now, and his book is phenomenal.
I agree with you. Somebody asked me similar question, not the same question, but he's somebody that seems so grounded, so genuine, and it would be great just to be in the presence of.
I'm going to throw one more out at you, and
Okay.
He's not really but he has acted, and it's just somebody who I would just like to meet, just to sit down at catering with.
Yeah.
Just that is probably one of the most interesting people on the planet,
mm-hmm.
And that would be Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, right. That's a good one. Just to sit there and pick his brain.
Yeah, he just did a movie with Matthew McConaughey about a year or 2 ago. He's also done a couple of other movies, some small cameos. The guy's not really known for his acting career, but what a phenomenal just guy.
I'd have to shut off parts of my brain that are overactive, because I would be sitting there and my biggest fear would be that he would be telling me, just the biggest ways of life, the biggest nuggets that I could ever get from anybody. And the only thing going through my head would be salt, salt, salt. But those are great answers. Well, Bill, thank you so much for your time tonight. Happy New Year.
You too.
Thank you very much. And please let us know anytime you want to come back on the show. You are now a friend of the show. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Oh, man, everybody. I love this show. I get to talk to and play with so many great people. Bill Housekeeper, go check him out on Facebook, IMDb. And remember, it's Houskeeper. So, as always, we are blessed. You are blessed. Mwah! I love you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in just under an hour with our next guest. We are going to be talking about her new cookbook, a very different cookbook, and possibly this is an ingredient that you have not baked with before. It's called Baking with Cannabis. So we will be on at 7